was a victory, like a big victory.
Yes.
Everything the SEC cares about, they lost.
Yes.
A freight train was driven through Gensler's argument that all of these are securities. Well, now we very clearly have a federal judge saying XRP is not a security. And like I know we've talked about this, but I'll remind people, when we first got sued, which was almost 3 years ago, a lot in the industry were like, oh, Ripple's different, XRP's different. And we said at the time, like, this is an attack on the whole industry.
Yep.
And and I think we finally have come around to realize that. And I think we fought it on behalf of the whole industry.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Support this great content by hitting the Cash App and by joining the Patreon.
And we have the SEC not appealing a court decision on Grayscale's Bitcoin spot ETF. So we know once Grayscale is approved, that's going to open the gates for the rest. Now all we need is the Fed to start cutting rates. And remember, the drum started to beat, and that lets us know the main event is here, and it's just going to keep escalating. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you.
Currently, U.S. consumers and businesses generally remain healthy. That's the good part, right? Good news. And then he goes on to say this. This may be the most dangerous time the world has seen in decades. Chris, when Jamie Dimon says something like this.
And Jamie Dimon says this is the most dangerous time the world has seen in decades. And guys, we know this is nothing but the Hegelian dialectic. Because even though the drums are beating, we haven't seen anything real yet. We know the technology that the NWO has. We know all these events are happening so China and the machines can rise. The robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. The fall of America to Babylon and the rise of China with the emerging markets with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you.
The UAW expanding strikes this week, and more could come today. Phil LeBeau joins us right now with more. Phil, what's next on the agenda here?
Becky, it's unpredictability. That is the word of the day when it comes to the UAW. Remember, a couple of days ago, as you and I talked about yesterday, they called for a strike at Ford at the Kentucky truck plant. That was going against the grain in terms of how they usually have called for their strikes. Typically, it's on a Friday morning. It's when Shawn Fain holds a Facebook Live update and talks about negotiations and has said, here's where we are striking. So we'll hear from him later today. Let's see what he has to say. In terms of the strikes that have been called so far, including the one at Kentucky Truck Plant that was announced on Wednesday evening, about 33,000 Big Three UAW members are currently on strike. You take all of the plants where there are strikes, it brings down about 29.8% of the Big Three's U.S. production, not overall production, but U.S. production. So a healthy chunk of what they build here in the U.S., and more than 5,000 workers have now been laid off by Ford, GM, and Stellantis at facilities where there's just not work to be done because they were receiving stampings or parts from facilities that are now on strike. Here's the strike map. Of all the strike locations across the U.S., there are now 6 final assembly plants that are on strike, including 3 from Ford. Speaking of Ford, yesterday the company held a briefing with reporters and analysts in the afternoon, and the company said, we have hit our limit. There is a limit to how far we can go in terms of the economic proposal, in terms of the pot of money that we are willing to agree to in this next contract. Now, they did say they're able to move things around a little bit, whether it's, from commitments and retirement savings to cost of living adjustments. They're able to do that. But in terms of the overall amount, and they wouldn't tell us how much, they say that they have hit their limit. Interesting to see what Shawn Fain has to say about that today. And then quickly take a look at shares of GM and Stellantis. The UAW was meeting with GM and Stellantis yesterday. We don't have an update on the talks, but they have been talking on a fairly regular basis, and those talks held yesterday. By the way, there were not talks between Ford and the UAW yesterday. Shawn Fain talks at 10 o'clock, guys. We'll let you know what he has to say.
Now we still have the Hollywood strike. Now we have the Vegas strike. The UAW, over 33,000 people on strike, and then over 5,000 people laid off. And like I told you, this is going to be a domino effect in the economy. But remember, we're in a fragmented world, and I'm going to be going over that later on in the video. But we're headed into the holidays with all these people out of work. Inflation is still high. And remember, a couple of years ago, the Fed, Jerome Powell, stated the Americans had over $2 trillion in savings, and by the fourth quarter, it dwindled down to $190 billion. And I guarantee it's less than that now with all these strikes going on. But remember, guys, this is just an avenue to the fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the crypto teacher told you.
Co-founder Jake Sherman, an NBC News and MSNBC political contributor. Good morning to you. Scalise is out. Is Jordan in? Who's in? What are the? Just walk us through who's even possible at this point, Jake.
Sounded like a what's going on, Andrew, and that's a very good question. The government is in absolute chaos at the moment. The House Republicans are unable to rally around anybody, and it's actually fair at this point, Andrew, to say that there's a possibility that nobody could get the requisite votes to become Speaker of the House with just Republican support. So Scalise dropped out. Now, next up is Jim Jordan. We reported last night Jordan was making calls to Republicans to try to build support for his Speaker bid. But to be honest with you, Andrew, I don't know whether he could get there. There are a lot of moderates who are against Jordan, who don't believe that he is the right pick for Speaker. And the irony of this all is that at the end of the day, after conservative hardliners pushed Kevin McCarthy out, we could end up with a Patrick McHenry or someone like that, a relatively moderate House Republican, getting to the speakership with Democratic support. So after hardliners pushed McCarthy out because he's not conservative enough, you could end up with a speaker with Democratic support.
Walk us through the permutations, though, of what comes next, how long this can go on for. I mean, I imagine it can go on forever, technically, but and the idea of when McHenry would be a true possibility if that was to be the case.
Yeah, this could go on for weeks. There's no end in sight right now. We'll have to see how Jordan does today. He could call for a vote today. So what happens is Republicans need to go into a closed meeting and vote for their nominee, just like they did with Scalise, vote for their nominee for Speaker. If that person emerges from the conference, either with a majority vote or if they change the rules with 217 supporters, then they go to the floor and have to build support for 217 votes on the House floor. I would say, though, if this permutation doesn't work out, if this option doesn't work out, they're going to have to move to open the House of Representatives, which it's not open right now. They can't do anything. They're going to have to move with Democratic support at some point soon because this is getting ridiculous. The government shuts down in 30 days, just a little bit more than 30 days. Israel is going to need aid in the next couple of weeks, Republicans say. They need a Speaker of the House desperately.
Joining us now is Marcus Theater's president, Greg Marcus. I've been reading stories. So normally, Greg, they don't want no cell phones, turn off your ringer, and for goodness sake, you're never going to film it. You guys, I think, are encouraging phones, like pretend it's a concert, right?
Absolutely. I never thought I'd be saying it to people, but
break out your phones.
We actually filmed a special trailer just for this. I actually go on our screens. I've been doing it for about 10 years to welcome people to the theaters. And I've never actually in one of those said, hey, please pull your phone out and turn it on. But we wanted this to be a concert-like environment. So we said, turn on your phone, stand up, sing, cheer, yell, dance, have a great time.
That's amazing. And have you been, I've read about some other theater owners. I think you're in the great state of Wisconsin, right?
Well, that's where I'm sitting right now.
I love it. Go to near Milwaukee, go to Cops, go to the Mars Cheese Castle, send some our way. Anyway, that aside, I've heard about some other theater owners like taking seats out, making room for people to dance. You know what I mean? This is getting crazy.
Yeah, it is. You know what? It just shows the breadth of what can happen in a theater. I like people say in the movie business. I say no, we're in the getting together with other people business. And whether it's a movie or a concert or the Metropolitan Opera, which we've been playing for years, I'll tell you something. Watch a football game on a giant movie screen. It's insane. It's so cool.
And we still don't have a Speaker of the House. That means nothing can be done. So that means the House is doing nothing and getting paid plenty of money, while we have plenty of hard-working people out of work. And then on top of it, guys, we're almost 30 days away from another government shutdown, which we know they're doing just to bring more drama, just a distraction. And then we have the drums of beating. And we know this is going to lead to even more drums of beating. It is order out of chaos. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And like I stated, we're in a fragmented world. We have Taylor Swift helping the NWO bring the metaverse to the people, having a concert in theaters. They're just programming the masses' minds for you sitting at home with glasses, sitting on your couch, because now the artist can be seen globally at one time. Remember, the metaverse is going to take away everything physical. You will no longer have the experience of being at the concert. They want you in the home while you're getting that free programmable money. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.